Welcome back. I'm Kevin O'Keefe. At issue today, teenage philanthropists. When Patrick Fortin was 25, he died of AIDS-related complications. But before he died, he started an AIDS awareness, education, and fundraising organization. But his ultimate goal was 0 cases of AIDS worldwide. After his death, his good friend, 13-year-old Jerri Clout, became the youth ambassador for Patrick for Life. Now 17, Jerri has spoken to countless young people across Ontario about HIV/AIDS, attended several World AIDS conferences, and helped organize the Walk Run Patrick fundraiser. Check it out. And joining me is Jerri Clout. Welcome to the show, Jerri.
Thank you.
I want to start with a little information about Patrick.
Okay.
He was a very good friend of yours.
Yeah.
I understand he was 10 years older than you were.
Mm-hmm.
What was your relationship like when he was alive?
Patrick's mother taught me piano, so my relationship was every week I'd go to their house for my piano lesson, and Patrick would be there, and as I'm tying up my shoes or getting my books out, he asked me what piece I'm learning or how school was, and just that relationship. And he was always someone I looked up to because he was a great piano player and we had the same taste in music. So I was often learning a piece that he had already learned.
Now, he contracted HIV. How did he get HIV?
He contracted HIV when he was 7 years old from tainted blood. He was a hemophiliac, and so blood infusions were a reality for him during the HIV crisis.
And what did you know going to your piano lessons about his condition?
I didn't know that Patrick was sick for a long time because he was a healthy person living a normal life and a normal teenager until he started getting sick. And I didn't really understand because I was fairly young, and I mean at school we do we raise money and jump rope for heart and MS readathon.
Everybody knows what those are.
Yeah, that's very common. HIV and AIDS, I had no idea. I've never heard of this before. So as much as my parents explained it to me, I still didn't quite understand why the doctors couldn't make Patrick better. And why did no one else know about this?
One of the reasons, I guess, why some people didn't know about it is because you're from North Bay. Mm-hmm. And when we think of HIV/AIDS, we think of San Francisco or Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal. What did you what affected growing up in a smaller town, do you think, have on your awareness of HIV/AIDS?
Especially during that time when Patrick didn't disclose his status for a long time, and many people were in that situation because there was just so much stigma against it and so much unknown, and that was across the world, that people were very quiet about their status. And so in North Bay, just generally smaller and less cases because there's less people and not that many people disclosed, and because it's such a small town, things spread. So it's something that someone would rather keep to themselves. But Patrick was very brave in disclosing his status and telling his friends and family, and then talking about it.
After he passed away, you were 13?
I was 10.
10, and 10. Patrick's mom called you and asked you to get involved.
Yes.
What was your response?
So I remember the phone call vividly. Christine called me and said, "Jerri, we would like you to co-chair the inaugural run walk for Patrick." And I was like, I would love to.
Really? You weren't at all like, I don't know anything about AIDS, and I don't know how to organize a run.
No, I would love to co-chair the run walk. And
Why?
Then I hung up
Why
the phone.
was it something you were so enthusiastic about?
Because it was a good thing, and I knew that, and I was really close with Christine, and Patrick was someone who I looked up to and a friend, and so if I could follow in his footsteps, that's a good thing. And then I remember hanging up the phone and going downstairs and saying, "Mom, what's a co-chair? And what does inaugural mean?" I just kind of jumped in and then looked back later. It's like, right. Oh, I'm glad I did. And it was really just a whirlwind.
Now, speaking of whirlwind, I have a whole list of things that you've done. You ended up co-hosting a morning talk show to help raise money. Yeah. How did that come about?
That's a local radio show, a battle of the sexes. So I co-chaired with the mayor of North Bay, Mayor Vic Fideli, and he's great. So much fun between the two of us. We're always bantering back and forth, and so we decided that this Battle of the Sexes would be a really great way to reach out to the community, talk about HIV and the event, promote the event, but also we're playing this little game show, and it's a battle between us, and we did that for 3 years, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You raised a lot of money. I think I have over $9,000.
But the first year, we had a challenge between the two of us to see who could raise the most money, the youth or the adults. So we were the two leaders and rallied the community, and I went to the schools and got different elementary schools involved, just friends from other schools, and then the high schools started to see what we were doing. Patrick's High School hosted their own run and raised $6,000. It was amazing the way the community rallied.
What is Participatrick?
The Participatrick program is something that's very close to my heart.
Yeah.
It is run for students in grade 4 to 8, 2,000 students, and we've reached over 6,000 students now, or 8,000.
This is in the North Bay area, or is it all across Ontario?
In the past 4 years, where students each week, over a period of 100 days, they run or do some kind of physical activity that amounts to the distance of a marathon. And each week they log their kilometers, and they learn a different character trait. Honesty, courage, things that build their self-esteem and build who they are as a person, and then a small fact about HIV and AIDS that's elaborated on based on their age by their teacher. So they're in a comfortable setting with their friends, and they're growing as people and learning that they're worth protecting themselves.
I was going to ask you, so this isn't just randomly decided, you have a strong connection between this program of character building,
it all ties in,
physical education, and HIV prevention. What is the link?
It all leads towards good health. So you need to do your 20 minutes of physical activity every day just to live in good health. And the character traits build a strong sense of who you are, and confidence and self-worth to say, I am responsible for my health and I will take care of my health.
And that's sort of a lesson that Patrick taught, is the idea that he believed HIV/AIDS is 100% preventable.
And we just need to spread the word on how. And students need to know that they're worth educating themselves on how. And
you do that. You speak to students all over Ontario. I guess I want to ask you, what's the school board initial response when you said, I want to go into school and talk about, say, sex education? You know, we've come a long way in a few years. And I have to say they were very supportive. At first, they're like, well, you know, there's a barrier. There definitely is a barrier because you're talking HIV is associated with sex, and it's not necessarily just the Catholic school boards. It's all school boards, especially for the ages you're talking to. How do you reach the kids? What sort of message are you bringing them?
Well, we worked with the school board then to find a happy medium in still promoting our message, but working with them and their standards to have a happy education. And in the younger schools, we promote just the awareness, like what you do with cancer and MS, just what is HIV.
So age-appropriate stuff.
And as you grow older, you learn how you can contract HIV. And then it depends on the school then and how much we're allowed to say.
Are you allowed to say use a condom?
No.
Okay.
We can't be that forward and say use a condom or don't share needles even.
Really? So what can you say?
We say that HIV is 100% preventable. And we talk about living with HIV and AIDS and the quality of life and how that, yes, your quality of life is getting better with the new drugs and treatments available, but HIV is not something that you want. And so
sorry, go ahead.
To motivate students to educate themselves.
I guess that's part of the challenge, and I had one of our research do a stat that according to the UN, young people between 15 and 24 account for 40% of new HIV infections worldwide. Why do you think that is, that young people, after all the work, all the education that you've done?
Do you know that stat is, people don't know that. They don't know, youth my age don't know that. And when we go to assembly, that's something we start off in saying, did you know anyone in between the age of 15 and 29, can you please stand up? So do you know that this age group is the largest, we're growing, the largest
rate.
at risk in infection rates. And that surprises people because there's still the stereotype in that it's a gay man's disease. It's in Africa. It's not in Canada. But then it's just not you, right? But that is you. That is youth, and people need to know that.
This is such an important issue. If someone is watching right now and wants to know more about your organization, how they can get involved, what they can go, is there a website or somewhere they can find it?
Absolutely. Patrick for Life, the number is 4, .org. And I encourage everybody to just if you Google HIV and AIDS and learn some more, just get educated and find out how you can protect yourself.
Well, thanks very much for coming in and sharing
it
with us. Well, that's it for this edition of At Issue for Teens. You can go to our website, ichannel.ca, to watch this entire show online. Just click on Video on Demand and At Issue for Teens. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and email your feedback to comments at ichannel.ca. I'm Kevin O'Keefe. Thanks for watching.